Hello and welcome A-League fans to another episode of The Download presented by Isuzu Ute. What a weekend of football we had. Juan Mata, isn't he hitting some heights as the Adelaide away form starts to blunder? And we have a look at maybe the import of the season that we think thus far. It's going to be an absolute cracking episode. I'm your host, Jake Barker-Daish, and as always, joined by three-time A-League champion, Archie Thompson.
Hey brother, how are you?
Danish goalkeeping legend, Thomas Sorensen. Guys, how are we?
Yeah, great. As you said, great weekend, a lot of great goals and good performances.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some cracking games to go through, but we can't go anywhere without going through some of the weekend bangers. We're going to be looking at the Ninja A-Leagues this week. Archie Thompson, Susan Phonsongkham here with an Olympico. This was an unbelievable finish.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, when you score Olympicos, I mean, they're always fantastic. As you can see here, Susie just steps up, whips in an unbelievable ball. Not too much the goalkeeper could do.
Is the striker trying to just steal that one?
Yeah, I think it was
going in late.
Yeah, I think it was going in. And I'm not someone, strikers can be selfish. But if I know that the ball is probably going in, I'd give it to the one that hit that. But you never know. Maybe the goalkeeper tapped it onto it, but it was still an amazing finish.
Yeah, it's not too many times you see anyone score from a corner.
No.
Bouzanis, he used to do that quite a bit back in the day.
Yeah, he had a wicked left foot.
Yeah, we talk about a wicked finish. This was late on in the game against Central Coast Mariners for Western Sydney Wanderers. Thomas, Talia Younis here. This was an absolute perler from her.
Yeah, she didn't want to be outdone and a great bit of build-up, layoff and a good first-time strike. You know, she hits it really well. Loops over the keeper, and it wasn't enough for them, but great bit of strike.
Yeah, brilliant finish, great technique. As it just comes across, she hits that back across the body with the instep and bang. Well, that game ended up 2-1 out at Central Coast after a brilliant finish there, though, by Younis. We had to go to Polytech Stadium, though, just for a bit of humour. Andrew Redmayne here with a turn and kick into the net that just brought a hole in the net there. Danny Vukovic, Archie, your mate, had to go out and put some strapping tape around it.
Yeah, he did. It seems like all the funny footage is happening at Polytech Stadium. And Vukovic, if you want safe hands to fix the net, he's the one.
Man to the rescue. Well, Thomas, if we want to go back in time and look at something that is even better, I mean, this might have been one of the loudest roars we've ever heard at Amy. But goalkeeping coach Dean Anastasiadis hoisted up here a saviour in Kosta Barbarouses.
Yeah, I didn't know Barbarouses had an engineering degree, but this is absolutely brilliant work. And, on the shoulder, carrying him through, and they get a job done. And as I said, crowd loved it, which, and we loved it as well.
Unbelievable, Arch. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, but Kosta Barbarouses, what a guy.
Yeah, beautiful guy, man. We talk about Greek mythology. I mean, there's two Greeks building a beautiful whatever it is.
We had to go out to the original rivalry. This was an absolute great game. A lot of pressure on Melbourne Victory going into the game. Sometimes when the pressure builds, you have to look at your biggest stars. And Juan Mata, he was absolutely exceptional. Probably his best performance across his time in the A-League. Archie, we were at this one. I mean, he was brilliant throughout the whole time he was on the field.
Yeah, he was amazing. And to be honest, I think he's probably been one of their best players throughout this A-League season. And you could tell straight away that Melbourne Victory wanted this result, needed the result because of the way they started, the intensity. I think with Adelaide United, their away form really showed in this game why they haven't won, because the games that I have seen them, especially played at Cooper's, the way they were moving the ball around, they look slick. Anything but that on the road, they need to fix that. But Juan Mata, I mean, I keep talking about it, but for me, it is important when you play the simple things well. A lot of players could take a leaf out of what he does. He gets the ball, technically he's so sound, but he plays it where it's meant to be. And for a striker and a forward runner, if you make those runs and you know you're going to get them in a position where you need them, it makes your life easier. And I think that's why Victory had so much success in that game.
Yeah, he was a conductor, conducting his orchestra. I think he was involved, and he was turning back the years. This is vintage Mata that we saw in the Premier League. The only thing he needs to work on is probably his heading, because he should have scored. My God, everything was right up until that point. Great finish as well, looping over the keeper, hit the bar, and then the follow-up. But he was around everything.
Did you play against him? What was he like?
But again, I think he's always been like that. He's always been, great in small spaces, great delivery, good vision. And I think we saw all that on display against Adelaide, and as you said, he was by far the best player on the park.
It felt like they were more compact this week as well, which helps Mata, because when he gets the ball, people are close to him. He likes to link up. He likes to play to people's feet and work with his teammates. Right?
100%, and that midfield too, I thought worked really well to allow him to be able to do that, because as soon as they won that ball, even the second ball, their quick combinations to quickly then find him where he was picking up spaces just behind the midfield of Adelaide's. Could get a turn in, plays a pass, plays a forward pass every single time that there was an opportunity to. He was just fantastic, and I reckon there's probably some people at Western Sydney, even Stadge, will be at home watching, going, man, why did I have to let that guy go? Because really, they're missing someone like him, and he's doing wonders for Melbourne Victory.
It doesn't seem like rocket science. You get a guy like Juan Mata, you just get him games. Yeah. And then the quality starts to come. This is the first time he's had a real consistent run in the A-League. Archie, you did so well at Melbourne Victory as a striker. It's always been a position that people at that club are used to seeing goals produced by their players. Thomas, I'll start with you on this one. Nikos Vergos, he got off the mark on the weekend. Important for him, for the club, for himself. I mean, how important will that be going forward for Melbourne Victory as we look at his goals?
Oh, it's hugely important because, they've been searching. Obviously, Jing Rees has been given the chance. And rightly so, I think Vergos has been criticised. I think we talk about the derby, he was lacking energy. But again, I think in this game, he showed what a good striker he is. He was at the right spots, following in balls. I thought he played with a different energy as well. And these finishes are top class. So if Victory can get him in those situations and he can get on the end of this, he can easily score 10 goals in this league. And then we might not be talking about this Victory striking problem.
I actually had a chat to him, Archie, just quickly before your 2 cents. He told me that you might have seen his rib strap there. The last few weeks hasn't been actually able to breathe. Yeah. So this is the sort of first week he's starting to feel it back to himself, which maybe is showing. But just as a striker, when you get off the mark after a long period of no goals, must be a good feeling. Yeah,
well, I did mention that in the game previous against Macarthur, the last 20 minutes, even when he came on, Nish Velupale, I think they made a massive difference. And then you could sort of see, okay, if they can maybe take a bit of that into this game and start well, we might see a different performance. But with Vergos, you were exactly right. I thought that every run that he was making was, with purpose, and you get those balls into those areas. Fantastic. I mean, he knew in that first one where he wasn't going to make the front post, but where can I still affect it? And he went around the back, and that's really a striker that knows, but just needs that bit of confidence. I think with Jing Rees, he's not prolific, and he's probably not going to make those decisive runs as Vergos did. And you can see when he gets the delivery, I like that second goal, where he peeled off and made himself in between the two defenders, and it was a great header.
Yeah, very much so. It's going to make for a juicy derby this weekend, which we're going to go into.
Bring it on.
Melbourne Victory, which
he's kicking me already.
You can feel the tension brewing by my side. But we have to look at the other side of the pitch. Adelaide, who have been quite formidable at Cooper Stadium, but their away form is starting to haunt them. 4 games this season that they haven't been able to get a result, but actually 12 of their last in the home and away season that they've played away from home, they haven't been able to get any results as well. So they've been really struggling. Just to go through it, Victory, Phoenix, Auckland and Macarthur. Thomas, we speak about mentality. People think they're a young team, but you made a good point off air. They're actually not as young as you think.
No, they started 5 players over 30. And Samuel came on, he's 36. So you can't really blame it on inexperience. And for me, it's all between the ears. I think they've got a comfort at Cooper Stadium. They've got a great crowd there. You play on the front foot. We know as a player, when you got that confidence and comfort, you're likely to move forward. Where I just sensed definitely in this game, they were on the back foot from the start. They weren't winning the contest. They weren't playing up the pitch, weren't holding the ball up front, and just got themselves under pressure. And to me, it just seems a mental thing. And how do they change it? You just need to win those first balls. You need to get your foothold in the game, and then you build from there. But it's been tight. As I said, it's been 2-1 losses in all of 4 games. But I thought in this one they were far off. I think Victory were by far the best team.
And, you interviewed Ayrton after the game, the manager of Adelaide United. And what's refreshing is he actually said what was happening. Like, they didn't, they didn't turn up. They didn't match the intensity. That doesn't take anything away from Melbourne Victory.
No.
They were really good. but they didn't match any of that intensity that's needed in an original rivalry. And I've watched them, play away and play at home. And you're right too. It's just the bad is really bad. The good's really good. It's just trying to find that balance. But they just lack the really intensity that you need when you go away from home at the moment.
Yeah, if you are Ayrton Andreoli, you've obviously got to speak about the elephant in the room. But what is it that you've got to do to these players to get them motivated away from home to get results? I mean, is it simple?
It's a simple thing.
Simple
I think it's again. Yeah, we want to play good football, but you got to win those battles. You got to get into a game. You know, where it comes to you easily at home because, as I said, it's comfortable. You know, you're gonna get a massive crowd behind you. But away from home, it's a little bit different. It's more quiet, and that's where the mentality and the attitude comes in. And it just sends that it's not 100% as it is at home, and that's for every individual to sort out, but also for the manager and the collective to sort out that they get that right start and get a foothold.
And the perfect example of that was the derby where Victory played City.
Yeah.
Victory did not match the intensity. When we thought that they should have, how tired City were, City started strong and they couldn't get back into the game. It was the same with Adelaide.
Well, you imagine they might get tested at the back over the next few weeks. Bart Vrien's going down in the first few minutes with a hamstring. So that's some experience that's going to be missing over, you assume, the next few weeks as we see what the toll will be there with that hamstring strain, I believe. Lachy Brook, though, we head out to Auckland. This guy has been setting the league alight the last month. He's had a couple of goals and assists. Archie, dare I say, he's one of your favourite players to watch, you said, through the week. I mean, talk us through his form and what you like about him.
Yeah, well, I think ever since he's come to Auckland, I think he's been fantastic. It's been a little bit of a slow progress into the form he is now in, because I think he did arrive a little late on the scene with Auckland, but I love the way that his energy, gets the ball, always looks to go forward. He's got a great left foot, as you can see from here, and you see with the first goal. I mean, that there is a peach of a delivery, and Cosgrove with a wonderful finish. But I think he's been doing that. He's scoring goals, he's assisting, he's had some kind of involvement when they go forward. His energy's fantastic, and I think that's why Auckland doing good, and he's playing some great football.
He's a very positive type of player, Thomas, as well. He's giving him a lot, not just in the goal column, but every time he gets a ball, he feels like he's quite a dangerous threat.
Yeah, he's that creative attacking midfielder, and I love the story and where he's come from. And obviously, the Adelaide kid and brought up there, but he's taken some chances abroad, gone to England, he's gone to the US, and now he's taken a reset. He's gone back to Australia, trying to find a foothold, and again, I think he's a great pickup for Auckland. He's sort of perfect for what they're trying to do. That service for Cosgrove, who can just be in the box, a little bit like Vergos. You need that Mata type. And he's similar player for Auckland.
Yeah, he's going to be very pivotal for them going throughout the season. If they're going to match Sydney FC, definitely he's going to have to be a key factor for them. Well, we talked about, just before we jumped on, our import of the season. There are a few to go through here, but we've got to start with our main man, Thomas, out of Wellington, Ifeanyi Eze. There's so much to like about him. He's aggressive, he's powerful, and he scores goals.
Yeah, he's just one of those players that you can see that he probably won't play forever in the A-League. He's got enough talent. He's got the physical strength. You know, he can barge defenders out of the way, and the goal-scoring touch as well. The header we'll see at the end of this. Incredible neck strength, and I just love his attitude. He's been borderline, and I said a couple of weeks ago that he shouldn't be on the pitch because he should have been set off. But again, that's what you want. You want that fire, and I think in a Wellington team that's not always playing well.
Here he goes again.
Yeah, I love it. Again, he's showing that he wants to be here. He wants to make a difference, and he is. So. Great pickup for Wellington as well.
Well, that goal there takes him to joint top scorer of the league, and probably a poor performing team, Archie, when you put him where they are on the ladder. I mean, as a sort of player behind him, when you see your front man being that aggressive, not afraid to put a boot onto a defender, but then bang one in the net as well, it kind of lifts up your team, right?
Yeah, it's infectious, I think, when you start to see your striker running around like that. I think it'd be interesting to see him play in the Wellington team from last year to this year. Maybe it kind of would have been a bit different because he might have been a bit isolated, but even saying that, he seems to be isolated quite a bit, but he harasses, picks up good positions. It's always going to be a nightmare for defenders when you've got someone like him. I mean, you can see when we scored that goal, it's like, give me that ball. You know?
Yeah.
Like, no, mate, I don't want...
Dalianov went through the net.
No, bro, no, mate. Give me the ball. Like, you know, it's just...
Yeah, mate. Absolutely brilliant.
He wants it.
We probably have him at the top of the tree maybe just now, but I want to give you some other important names here just to see which other ones across the leagues are catching your attention. But Marcel Tisserand, Victor Campuzano, Sam Cosgrove, Houston Salas, Takeshi Kanamori, Tom Lawrence, and Ji Dong-won. I mean, he's probably right up there, but anyone else of those names that's been impressing you as well?
I think Tisserand, has been really good for Sydney, and Cosgrove, again, is proving a handful in that box, and it's good to see that, these old school strikers, that they have a bit of a renaissance. But I think it's just good. The A-League needs the imports to do well, so it's good that we can sit here and pick out 7, 8, because it's that mix with the young players. Because they need to learn from the foreign players as well, and the professionalism and everything else. So I think, the ones you talked about and mentioned as well alongside, I think they're all contributing in the right way.
Yeah, very much so. Well, the other side of that game, Newcastle, they got their 3rd win of the season. They're the 2nd highest scoring team, but they've conceded the most in the competition. Archie, I mean, they're probably the box office Jets we're calling them, because they are entertaining at both ends at times, but they got the chocolates here in a very big, important win for them.
Yeah, definitely. Takes them off the bottom of the ladder. But I think it was the way that they attack, and it's probably good for them to play a team like Wellington, where they're probably going to get balls in behind, use the speed, Lachy Brook. This one, Tommy, you've played at Wellington, you know that maybe the keeper's thinking it's going to slide on, but it gets sticky. You probably think that the defender could have cut across and helped in there, but those sort of situations, when you look at it, they scored 3 goals in about a 10-minute span, and it really threw the game out. But they've still got some exciting players. Burgess went off early. Eli Adams, where I'm a fan of.
Yeah,
he came on and had a great impact. So I think to bounce back from a performance against City last week was important, and they got a great win.
And shout out to James Dalianov. I think he kept them in early, because again, it looks very comfortable, 3-1, all happy days, but they were struggling early on, gave away a lot of chances. He made some good saves.
Is it fair to be critical of their inconsistency as such? I mean, they are so young, right? They're hugely talented. I mean, you think of the players they've got, that could be, springboarding to overseas clubs in the next year or two. Eli Adams, Badalato, Will Dobson's a fantastic player. You could go on sort of their team. Is it fair to be critical, or is this an expectation with a youthful list as such?
Well, I think you got to find a balance in the way that you maybe criticise or try to give feedback to young players. They're not going to always be fantastic. I mean, look, not every player is going to have great games, whether it be youth or experienced players. But I think you've got someone like Mark Milligan will keep telling the players to keep doing the things that we've worked on, and the process will turn into performances, which will turn into victories. So it's with young players and young teams, it's always going to be trying to find that consistency. But they're an exciting team to watch. I mean, as a fan, I would love that,
Be a nightmare, though, as a goalkeeper, I imagine, Thomas. I mean, you're entertaining at one end, but you're also, as a goalkeeper...
I experienced it a bit. My first season in Australia, because we were trying to play expansive football, and we were giving away a lot of chances. I've never been so busy in my life. I'm sure Danielov would love them to sit back a little bit. But again, it's that balance of, you need to learn the young players to win, so they need to be calculated, don't make stupid mistakes. But on the other hand, you also want them to express themselves and not be afraid of making mistakes. And that's where the Milligan has to find the right balance.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the Ninja A-Leagues kept delivering again, as we saw some bangers of the week. Canberra United, they have taken a stance. They go top of the competition with a win on the weekend over Melbourne City. We've got to give a shout out to Melbourne City, though. 30 home and away games. They have been unbeaten in the league until this one against Canberra, with some cracking goals here as well, Thomas.
Yeah, no, some good delivery, and I thought overall, I think Canberra deserved this one. We'll see Michelle Heyman again doing her thing. She's 37, an incredible career, and she's still doing it at the highest level. And McNamara pulled one back at penalty, but now Canberra top of the league, and I think they've been the best team so far.
Yeah, they were great. Hawkins with the first goal, Heyman there as well. She's gone to 4 goals. Archie, you played up until 37, and we're still scoring some goals yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, Easier said than done, right, I assume.
Oh, well, look, I think with Michelle, I mean, it's fantastic because there was a period there where she was even thinking about not playing football anymore and retiring. And then all of a sudden, like, she's still scoring. She's part of that Matilda setup. For a lot of those girls, we talk about the World Cup for the boys. But for these girls, they've got the Asian champions, Asian Cup in Australia, which you want to be a part of because on home soil. We've seen what happened with the World Cup. So there's a lot of carrot for a lot of players in Australia at the moment, and you can see with the quality of with goals. I mean, those two finishes were fantastic.
Oh, great finishes, yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, Melbourne City, Thomas, obviously the women's, we've got to touch on 30 games home and away season, unbeaten.
Yeah, incredible.
I mean, that's gone a little bit under the radar potentially, but we've got to give some light and love to that. That's incredible, buddy.
You know, that's historic in some way, and you know, sometimes they do come, these records do come to a close, and that's what we want as well. And you know, they've got, again, juggling, as the men do, they have to juggle the Asian Champions League. And, you know, again, we'll see how it goes. But it's going to be a tight season. It's going to be exciting right down to the wire.
Yeah, well, we've been loving the press conferences out at Brisbane. Michael Valkanis has been delivering all season, but Dean Bouzanis has as well. 3 goals Brisbane Roar have conceded. They have 6 clean sheets out of the 8 games. Before we dive into it, let's have a look at what Michael Valkanis had to say about his goalkeeper.
What's important with a goalkeeper is not having to make 5, 6 or 7 saves. When he's got to make 1 or 2 critical saves, he's there, and that's focus, and that's what he does. So I think he's in really good form, and probably, I can say it, he's probably putting up his hand for the Socceroos. In terms of what he can give a team with his distribution, and especially with teams that press, and he can bypass 1, 2 or 3 lines, which we've done really well in previous games, and a couple of times today it didn't quite work out, but I think it can help a lot.
Archie Socceroos is what's been hurling around him. Obviously, a bit of promo from his own coach. That never hurts, right? But fair, do you think, just, you know, given the state of performances, the clean sheet number?
Yeah, well, you probably have to ask Thomas about his performances being a goalkeeper. But, you know, from a club and a coach point of view, you always want to put your players in the spotlight for them to be selected. Maybe a little early to talk about a Socceroo, but you keep clean sheets. So I think he's been fantastic, but that team defensively has been fantastic. And if you have a solid defence, I mean, those 1 or 2 chances that you save certainly goes a long way.
Thomas, your breakdown of him, Socceroos make up and then also actually him as a goalkeeper and his performances at the craft.
You know, again, we talked about last week, the distribution. I think that's that's where he excels incredibly.
Does he mean this?
Yeah, yes, for sure.
That's crazy.
But we can talk about the Adelaide
defending.
defending.
Yes, as well.
But yeah, you know, it's what he's really good at, and Valkanis said it himself. And I'll go as far as saying, I think I'm quite confident that the best Australian goalkeeper in the A-League will go to the World Cup. At this moment in time, if the World Cup was 3 or 4 or 5 weeks away, I think Patrick Beach is that goalkeeper. I think he's been tremendous. But all you can do is putting in performances, clean sheets, putting your name in that hat, and we still got 6, 7 months to go, and there's so much time. So, you know, for Brisbane and for Dean Bouzanis, it's all about just keep chopping away, and who knows what's going to happen, injuries, everything else. You're just going to play your chance.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. I guess what's not up for debate is how good they have been defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, last year they struggled to keep clean sheets. This year they've got 6 out of 8 games, which is probably the most. They've only conceded 3 goals. Archie, they've been, the aggressive factor's probably been one component, but they are also going to be losing Lucas Herrington in 3 games' time, which is going to leave a bit of a blow back there.
Yeah, it is, because he's a fantastic young talent, and you know, alongside Valkanis, they've been exceptional, especially being so young. Like, it's what they've done with that. What Michael Valkanis has done with that team in that short amount of time that he's had him is just amazing. To be able to flip a team like he has with the stats that you've said is just incredible. And I think he said it in an interview. It's like, you're in Europe, it doesn't matter about your performances. It's like, it's how you win games that you're made accountable. And I think he's showing that here. And sometimes you don't need to play the pretty football to win. And Brisbane are doing that. And he's recruited brilliantly too. Yeah,
and I think they've got Hossein Bility who can come in.
Yes.
You know, he played last year. He's been on the bench, and Harrington has kept him out. So they've got, like for like in some way substitution. So it's not like they're leaving a massive gap there. But again, as you said, he's a young player. It's exciting, and I think it'd be definitely exciting to see his progression from there.
Well, top 3 club now in the A-League, Brisbane, so credit to them for their performances so far. Going to be a joy to watch. They're aggressive. They're in fights every week. You can't not love watching them. They are doing all they can to claw points and take things back to Queensland. Sydney FC, though, sit top of the mountain. They went to Perth and got a 1-0 win. Probably weren't the better team across the whole game, but even more impressive that they could go there and get the win doing so. Archie, are they the benchmark of the competition for you?
Yeah, there's a number of teams, but I think, you've always got to think of Sydney FC, especially when you come into any A-League season. But the good thing about Sydney in this game is they scored early. They needed to score early. And we have to acknowledge that the stifling conditions that these boys had to play in was ridiculous. So, and the game that they did play, it was amazing. Like, the intensity level was very high right until the 90th minute. But Sydney did what they had to do. They were missing some great players. Lolly, Wallity came in for that. He scored.
Ocon Jr. was out.
Ocon Jr. was out. Quintal came in. So the players that are coming in are doing a job, especially going to Perth with the conditions, like I said, and the form that Perth are in. But on the flip side for Perth, I thought they were good for at least a point or a win. That Perth team would have folded last year or even early this season. So
here's some of their chances that Sydney had to withstand.
Well, Caltex,
Thomas, I mean,
and Kosciuszki. I think they had enough chances. But going back to, we talked about Adelaide and that lack of mentality. Sydney without probably players. It's easy to have an excuse. This is the Caltex chance. They probably, rode their luck a little bit, but sometimes you just got to put up that fight and get a result. And to go to Perth, I know, you've been there plenty of times. It's a tough journey. There's so many things, a little bit of a time difference. So good on Sydney to go there and get one out.
I think it's worth talking about the operation of Sydney FC as well, because you think of their recruitment, Alex Balmjohan in that sporting director role, if you will. They've got Tisserand right. They've got Kispe, who's a product we don't usually see in the A-League, a 23-year-old Peruvian international. They've gone and got Campuzano, who seems like a player. Al-Hassan Toure, they brought him back and got him back into the Socceroos. And then you think Ocon Jr. and Yuli. I mean, they seem to be getting those decisions right. Thomas, you'd have to think.
Yeah, again, he stepped into a big role. I actually did a degree at UEFA in football management with Alexander, so I know him well, and he works really hard, and he's got a lot of connections in Europe with his German background and everything else. And again, I think he's stepped into a big role, but has done a great job.
And I think it's important too, if you go into a role like that, you've got to have some football knowledge. And the guy's played at the highest level. So he can already identify a player that needs to be brought to a club. And I think maybe some other clubs could, look at that, maybe putting an actual player in a position that can identify that, but also have some good contacts overseas, and I think he's doing some amazing stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'm loving watching Sydney FC every week, particularly Ocon Jr. He's been outstanding. Reece Yuli as well. He's a great player to keep an eye on. The big game, though, is this weekend, the Melbourne Derby. I know we talk about the Sydney
going
Derby.
down.
We talk about the Sydney. Yeah, well, here you go.
It's going down.
Here we go. This is Melbourne City. There we go. Arch, that's the Melbourne victory. Right, I've got to separate you two, but victory winning this weekend has just made that game a little bit better, a little bit more interesting. Thomas, Melbourne City, they've got a bit of a break at the moment. I guess you saw the victory game of the weekend. How is City going to prepare for this one? Is it much of the same for them?
Yeah, no, again, they've obviously got a good feeling after the last derby, but on the other hand, last time they had a 10-day break, they went to Adelaide and really didn't perform. So for them, it'll be a mental thing as well. It's that first 5 minutes in a derby. It's all about doing the small things right, winning your battles, getting that first pass off, doing just the simple things. And I think what I've seen from that Melbourne City side, the young players, with the way they've operated in the Asian Champions League as well, gone to some difficult places. So I feel mentally they're in a really good spot. Vidmar got them dialed in. So I'm expecting now that victory showed up this weekend. I'm expecting a battle, and I'm expecting a really, really exciting derby.
Archie, what are the keys for victory going into this one? Because we know Melbourne City's, they're not there on the ladder at the moment, but football-wise and the way they've been going for the last few years, they probably have been the benchmark of the A-League.
Yeah, they have. And I think if you look at what Melbourne Victory did against Adelaide, is that when they went forward, they were more clinical in terms of when they created a chance, they at least finished it by hitting the target. A lot of times they weren't doing that. I think when you're a striker and you had a little slump and you score a couple of goals, it's funny how the universe works. You start to go on a little bit of a run. So Vergos, this will be great for him. And then I think with the likes of Nishan Velupillay coming back and Santos, those two give so much going forwards in terms of okay, they can come to feet, but they also get balls in behind. Yep. So I think they've been missing that link. And Juan Mata, get him on the ball. If they match the midfield intensity and level like you talked about, it's going to be a great game. But that game against Adelaide means nothing if you don't bring it up, which Alpha Dillis said after the game.
Talking about Mata, one thing I can't wait to watch is Kai Truan will probably be playing that holding midfielder. So it'll be Socceroo against an all-time great. What a battle. That could be key for the game.
So obviously, Juan Mata's coming up in Aurelio Vidmat's pre-match, isn't
Of course.
This week?
You got to close that space. So I presume Kai Truan could potentially be the one that has to do that job.
And on the other hand, Andreas Kuhn, he's the one that Victory is going to be talking about as well, because we know how dangerous he can be.
Talking points, I love it. Bring it on.
Just quickly before we sign out, the A-League, we're quick to jump on things, but Arthur Dillis, he was under pressure, right? Got the win on the weekend. It was almost like, is he going to be around beyond this week if they don't win? All of a sudden he goes and gets a win in the derby. The league can change very quickly.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how that works after.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I don't want to be a coach. That's exactly why I'm happy to sit behind and go, oh yeah, he should have done this, he should have done that. But it's so hard when you it just felt like he finally got out what he's been looking for Melbourne Victory.
He had finally his best team almost on the park too,
yes,
right?
100%. And Nishan, like I said, Nishan was a big missing piece in terms of that outlet, and also to the players that he lost last year. He's been able to keep a good player in Nishan.
So question for you. Danny John Rowe, does he go back in the starting lineup? Because he's back from suspension.
He's officially back.
So that's the thing,
Because Dorigo was outstanding. Yeah. He's been playing in that sort of number 8 that night. Yeah, you're almost...
That's a tough... I'd be hard stretched to kind of see anything changing and bringing him in. If anything, I'd probably take John Rowe. If you're going to swap a player out, it's a hard one to say, but I'd probably take Valadon out and put John Rowe in there.
Interesting. All right, score predictions. Let's go, Thomas.
2-1 City.
Archie?
2-1 City. Nah, victory, mate.
Bring it on, Archie.
Well, gents...
We'll be on the coverage as well.
The gents will be on the coverage. So,
look at size, we'll go on there.
Be nice to each other. It's going to be an absolutely cracking game in the A-League this weekend, so keep an eye out for that one. But that's all from us here at The Download, presented by Isuzu Ute. We'll see you guys next week.